Hey everyone, it's Z-Man Cuddles. I am going through a silly deck streak, but I just won my locals with Watermill, going against Lightning, Fire, and Fighting, and actually winning on prizes against Fighting and milling out the other two. Wanted to showcase this deck. It's the last month of the season. I have my badges. I'm just trying to play some fun stuff. So, let's get into it. First you have this Gyarados, which has 170 HP, and for the Wreck Havoc, flip a coin until you get tails for each heads, discard the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck. That matters. This is a mill deck, so that is what you want to see and do, but here's the other thing. Wild Splash. For 4 energy, discard the top 5 cards of your deck for 230. This matters because versus Fighting, for example, it OHKOs a okidogi. Against Water, if they don't have a pot helmet, it OHKOs Wailord. So this Gyarados can clear threats if they underbench, but if they overbench and try to set up their support, then you're going for the mill, and that's actually what you'd prefer them to do. But the 230 really can matter. Your second mill attacker, and you're going to chain between the two of these, is Wugtrio. For Undersea Tunnels, for triple colorless, which is huge, we'll get into that, you can Undersea Tunnel. So you can flip 3 coins for each heads, discard the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. This is generally the better miller. This is generally the better card. You have the trade-offs of, okay, this one is going to have the OHKO potential. It only takes 1 energy, and it has 170 HP, which is huge. This one only has 90, but you can get 6 to 9 cards when you re-roll the flips. So into the engine of the deck, we play the Frostmoth. I'm adamant on this. This means that you can attack with other attackers. So if you need to take prizes, you can. I think that's huge in control builds, and Mill's an archetype of control in my book. And it makes it where if you play 5 waters and a recycle and some other things, you're not just trying to reuse reversal and triple acceleration all the time. So the Frostmoth is great. And I like the Starmie. You know, when you're first learning GLC, you typically use the Starmie. This is a discard a card from your hand and then get 2 waters back. These are nice because you can just make sure you chain the attacks every time. I tried things like Superior Energy Retrieval, but I like the stability of the Starmie more. And of course the Staryu with Free Retreat. All water decks work because you have the 2 main engines, Octillery, which is like Bibarel and Standard, draw until you have 5 cards in your hand, and the Intelleon with the Shady Dealings. You can grab any trainers out. You can make any deck work in water because of these silly things. And then we have 2 more Pokemon here. The Washi, which as a basic has 180 HP, and the Scatter ability. So when it has damage counters, it can shuffle into the deck. If your opponent's low on resources or they're trying to underbench, this can be your wall to buy time, or actually even just to run them out of resources that way. And then it can also attack for 130 and 3 energy. That comes up a bit to clear some threats. And then Basculin for consistency. People, you know, there's a bit of a debate, Vulpix or Basculin. There's so much hand disruption. I feel like everyone plays Marnie, Iono, and N, the good decks, that I am a huge Basculin stan. To be able to re-roll your coin flips, you have 2 options. Trick Coin and Glimwood Tangle. They do the same thing. One's a stadium, one is a tool card, and they let you re-roll the coin if you don't like the way it goes. So you want to try to get 2 flips with the Gyarados and 2 flips with the Wugtrio with this. Eventually your RNG will like you and you'll get some more, and that's how you win games, is eventually you kind of have a crazy streak. Everyone around you will go crazy. It's what makes it so fun. We have 2 mill supporters. Misfortune Sisters, look at the top 5 and discard any items, and Team Handiwork, flip 2 coins, discard 2. This just helps because you can't get there in time with just the attackers, so this can kind of help round that out. For the control piece, you have the classic Surge, Lusamine, Cynthia, and Caitlyn. This could probably be its own video, but you know, you can make sure that you reuse your supporters each turn. Lusamine's nice because it can also grab the Glimwood. For the Gust, you have the Counter Catcher and the Guzma. I don't play teammates too much in like real decks or attacking decks, but I really like it here because it can just find you those last couple combo pieces like a special energy or things like that, so I play teammates. And then for the consistency cards, we have these 5 here. So Irida and Ball Guy, kind of the quintessential setup staples. Arvin, honorable mention there, but also good into the mid game for getting things like your Trick Coin. Iono is good for 2 reasons. I mean, the first thing is just when you have that break opening hand, you see the 4 water energy and a wiggle, and you're like, I need to top deck Iono. It's also nice because while seeming counterintuitive to mill, sometimes if you're against a deck, you need to brick them with the Iono to buy yourself some time. Maybe they're down to 3 prizes or such. And then the Colress can grab your setup like this Brooklet Hill, or it can grab the Glimwood, so it's good in the mid or the early game. And the energy can also be capture energy, it can be splash energy, it can be reversal, so a lot of utility there. the Brooklet Hill and Pokemon Search Suite here. Just make sure that you set up consistently. So we have Ultra Ball, Quick Ball, Dive Ball, Level Ball, Evo Incense, Nest Ball, Buddy Buddy Poffin, Hisuian Heavy Ball. Nothing too crazy there. Getting into the Hisuian Heavy Ball, there's actually 3 ways to get things out of prizes: Peonia, Gladion, and Heavy Ball. I like this because you're not normally going to take prizes. You have that option, but really you want to be able to find your Gyarados, your Wugtrio, your Frostmoth, things like that out of the prizes. I was trying just these 2. I didn't quite like that. I was trying just these 2, but you know what? With Shady Dealings, if you have like 4 important things prized, you want to grab the Peonia. If you have just 1 prize, you gotta have the Gladion. So I really like having both here. For pivoting around, you just play Frostmoth. You don't have room for the Excalibur. You truthfully don't need it. You play Air Balloon, Floatstone, and Escape Rope to move your things around. For recovery, you have Versus Seeker, the one true staple of GLC. Rescue Stretcher and Rescue Carrier, the 2 rescues. Rescue Carrier can grab a myriad of things from the Wiglet line, Magikarp, the young Drizziles, Frostmoth, a lot of different things. So I like that over the Night Stretcher. Pow Pad to reuse your broken control supporters. Nessa to get back your water energy and your Pokemon. And then Splash Energy to get back the preferably Gyarados or the Wugtrio line. So a lot of different recoveries, so that way you can chain it. Because you want to make sure you always have a Wiglet and a Gyarados attacking and 1 benched when the other one's attacking. Play 10 energy. So we have these 5 energies. You have the Splash Energy as the recovery. These 2 energies are broken, so you have the Reversal and the Triple Excel, which both work with the Wugtrio. So if your Frostmoth isn't online, you can still Wug with these 2. Play the Capture Energy for that early game setup. Recycle, because this is great with the Starmie. You can make sure that you Frostmoth Starmie, and you can always attack with Wugtrio. Also, just make sure your Gyarados is all online. Recycle Energy is huge. And then you play Capacious and the 5 Water. So I think this list is pretty close to perfect, honestly, for what the archetype is. The Escape Rope's like whatever. The Air Balloon's kind of whatever. You could maybe look into those. And you could do the Vulpix over the Basculin, but I don't really like going the turn behind. The 2 big cards I want are Luxurious Cape and Silene. So I'd maybe consider that over like Escape Rope and Air Balloon, but at the same time, then your pivoting ratio is kind of So I don't know. Play with it, but this at least will get you like a couple wins at a locals. You need a high roll a little bit. It's a coin flip deck. It's like a fairy deck or anything else, but you know what? Watermill will be one of the most memorable GLC nights of your life. So have fun, enjoy, win some games with Wugtrio.